asked Okukpe what Peter Obi has to offer when he reached out to me. He hasn't called back. Sowore. Popular human rights activist who is the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, Omoyele Sowore, has disclosed that he was called by the Director General of the Peter Obi campaign organization. In a post on his verified Facebook page hours ago, Sowore revealed that over 1 month ago, Doyin Okukpe reached out to him for a meeting over Peter Obi. And then he said, I asked Dr. Okukpe what Peter Obi has to offer, and he promised to get back to me. It is almost 2 months after he hasn't called back. I was not expecting a callback. He thought I could be used to front a narrative to Nigeria that they have mobilized all the mobilizables. And obviously he's put that on his story. And he also adds, I keep saying this, the mass deception might overwhelm some, but not those of us who fought the forces or fought these forces our entire life. We are different. It takes a lot to remain consistent, duly diligent, fervent, and committed to a nation that rewards impunity and dishonesty. I would not disagree there. Okay, now listen, I don't know what the conversation was meant to be or why he even came out to say that, but I think this is more refreshing news. It's better to listen. You'd want to have arguments and competition when you have, with the likes of Peter Obi and Sowore. We need to have these back and forths, and at the end of the day, some people may not like it. Those that may not support Sowore may not like it, but the fact is we need that kind of competition, because really everything is easy for Peter Obi because of who he's going up against. I mean, let's be factual. The competition will be too easy for him in a sane environment. If you're going to go up against the likes of Atiku and Tinubu, he should easily, on the grounds of fairness, should be, in a better position than them. But now it's better to have refreshing news where we can actually have, Sowore in the picture, taking more of the center stage, because we need people like him. I mean, he may not be the favorite, but when it comes to the competition, the back and forth, comes to the campaigns, it doesn't have to be disrespectful, but these are the conversations that we need to be having. So now, on these grounds, we're not there in the conversation, but if anything, I think a lot of what, Sowore supporters and those that are, into what Sowore has, what they really use as their strong argument is to say, okay, fine, what does Peter Obi have to offer? I mean, it's not the first time, Sowore or those that support, his party would say, because if you actually go, Sowore is well prepared. I mean, if you go, I went on his website, Sowore2023.com, I think, and he has his manifesto, has everything there, everything lined out, a proper plan. And, I guess that's because of that preparation. I don't think Peter Obi has had that yet or has said that, and so that is what they're using as their argument to sort of, gain relevance for themselves and do the convincing where it needs to get more votes. So really, obviously, at the time, Peter Obi just joined the Labour Party, so he had to getting used to whatever it is. But at the end of the day, people will say, well, campaigns have not started, so why are you expecting from Peter Obi? Peter Obi has already said what he wants, his credentials and all that. But I guess for Sowore, there's a laid out plan. When we talk about the plans on paper and execution, obviously very much different. But when it comes to preparation, you don't have to wait till the campaigns to get something ready. And I guess on that ground, well, you can say that, okay, fine, Sowore does have a point in saying that, what does Peter Obi have to offer? Not that his supporters don't know it, but let him come out and say it. How is it documented? How do we know it? And others will argue that, it's not by manifestos, because we have heard the best of the best manifestos. There is nothing, it's not the manifesto that would guarantee if these individuals that we put in power will do their job. That's also valid as well. But then, where you are trying to get votes, it's a game of numbers, and now you have the youth with more engagement in the history of Nigerian politics and voting. I mean, the voting population in the past elections, very, very tiny compared to the actual population, probably 20% of the population or even less actually vote. And now you have, the youth who make up almost 70% of the population. So when you say it's a game of numbers, it really is. And with mass registration of voters cards, this is really the time to get your numbers in. So if it seems that, Sowore is prepared in the aspect of already laying out a plan even before, well ahead, before the campaign season, well, he's going to use that to his advantage. But the whole point of this, and what I really appreciate, is the fact that we need to have more of Sowore in the conversation. We need to have more interviews of Sowore. Like, he doesn't have to be, the running favorite, but we also need some competition for Peter Obi as well. At the end of the day, it's a recruitment process, and because we're also desperate to save the country does not mean that any option that is there, we just take it. Yes, it is normal that, and for a lot of countries, the people really, do they really get to pick? Because whoever comes out to contest is who's literally who will make up your options. And so if you have limited options and you have to choose the lesser of two evils, would you really say you're voting to your satisfaction? Maybe not. But in this case, we're not just going against the usual names or those that you expect, so in this case, I'm just glad. And I think even more when it comes to campaigns as well, we need more ideas, we need more conversations. And really, my own thing is we need to have conversations that just that exclude PDP and APC totally. Like, as when it comes to this presidential debate, really, because I don't know what else do you want from these parties? How much proof, how much more, what more do you want them to do for them to prove to you that they do not care? And as long as they're going to be in presidency, or as long as they're going to be in power, they're filling their own pockets and they just do not care. So how long would that take? And again, these conversations need to happen. Okay, Okukpe won't get back to you because you are literally asking for money and this camp will not give anything. Again, let's be realistic now. When it comes to funding, you cannot compare. Sowore, I don't think, has the funding that he needs to go through with this, but really, I guess with donations and all that, that is why it's very important for Sowore to really get his numbers and do the convincing. But obviously be very careful, because you don't want the youth to be against you in a place where they have really got their favorite and they're standing behind their favorite, Peter Obi. You are in a class of people to reach out to. Who knows you noisemaker? Go and sit down. You see, now this is the thing. He's just disregarded for what? But Sowore is younger than Peter Obi. So when it comes to competence and actually being in the space, he's never held any position before, which sounds like a worry to a lot of people, because let's be realistic. Yes, you want a president, but it doesn't mean that the individuals that, he'll be working with will be totally brand new. They won't. So with Peter Obi, I guess, if anything, you have somebody who has been in a corrupt space. He knows the people he's worked with and was still able to make that change, which I think is very important. Very, very important. Also, what's important, but I think the difference now in Sowore and Peter Obi, I feel, is Sowore is definitely obviously about building the country, but he wants to go after those that have destroyed the country and make them pay back, which I am in support of. But Peter Obi has said that he's not going to go after past lawmakers when it comes to corruption and fighting it. Well, we'll see what happens in the coming times. Put what you think about it in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.